Just that's going to catch up moments. The cyclone as well. Noti's going to pass away.
My best league memory is when we went to the IESF World Championship in 2018. We traveled to Taiwan, and we had Nile and Taiki and me, like pretty much our roster now, like half of it. And yeah, we just went to Taiwan for a week, and it was really nice, like traveling to play video games to the other side of the globe. So yeah, that was really cool.
Poise is just melted as Kevo gets himself his first kill.
From a top of the table clash, we have the first, or technically first place versus last place clash coming your way of BTXL versus Singularity. Now, to just set the stakes here, Singularity cannot get out of relegation. So this match actually is one of the few matches that doesn't mean a huge amount overall in terms of standings. But it is important for BTXL with the rise of Riddle to continue a win streak.
Yeah, and just as you said, they really need to close that gap between them. Have to make it, no, not close it, actually extend it. And to be fair, they're just desperate for wins, as you said. They had too many, as we've already described, scrim games on stage here where they lost too many games for that, and now they just need to show that they are a good team and they need to extend this gap because they have been out of form up until recently, and we only started just last week to see a glimmer of hope of a greater BTXL. So let's see how they fare against a team who has nothing to lose today.
Yeah, and it's also the fact that BTXL, I don't think have shown their true or final form yet. Like if this is a Singularity that has nothing to lose, and Excel, this is kind of a must-win game for them to make sure that they secure their first place spot and don't have to get a bad draw into playoffs and just open up the nightmare scenario. I also just want to see Excel make a statement, like come out and slam someone in a super clean and decisive way.
I think also one of the important things here is that they're looking to avoid Fnatic. Fnatic has been the XL kryptonite for as long as I can remember. Even when XL had the cleanest season of their entire, I think, academy team or sister team life cycle, Fnatic still stomped them in the finals and got a reverse sweep. Well, not stomped them, but it reverse sweep them. So, like, this is really important for XL, that they want to avoid their kryptonite for as long as physically possible, not only for, I guess, confidence sake, but also for European Masters, because that's on the line too for our top two teams in the NLC.
Yeah, I think that there's a very fine line between saying, sure, we can have some hiccups in our groups if we're BTXL, but one hiccup might end up having us in the second place, and then we're facing Fnatic instantly. So I think at this point, in this group, you're sort of aiming for first or third. The second place is something everyone wants to avoid somehow, and this is a statement game, right? We've talked about over and over again how the top-notch teams like Fnatic, like BTXL coming in, they need to be able to stomp weaker on paper teams. And Singularity, it doesn't get bottom of the bottom. It doesn't get more bottom than this. They are bottom of the bottom at the moment. They have locked in relegation. They have nothing to lose, and this is very important because when you play against a team that has nothing to lose, so far they've been playing freestyle, trying to win. I wonder how much freestyle they're going to play now they have nothing to lose.
And now the question is, how does this team with nothing to lose actually attack Excel and try to take them down? Because we all agree that this is kind of the David versus Goliath situation, that Singularity would have to go the distance there. But if you do want to try to pick apart Excel, it starts, for me at least, in the jungle and the top lane position. It feels like the bot side of the map for Excel is exceptionally strong, that their mid laner is constantly roaming around playing. I think you guys always like to kind of compare him to what Special previously did for the roster, that Hatrix is kind of put into the same type of position. And I think it's trying to figure out how you're going to attack Taxer.
And I just want to see what kind of curveball Singularity is going to be, because I think that they're going to be an excellent shot at BTXL, who's been dealing with fundamentals. And how do you beat a team who's just coming straight at you with everything they got? Well, you can beat them out with simple, explicit macro, just easy to play team fight compositions, and you're just going to win it out. I want to see that BTXL still hungry for that first place. I want to see that they are willing to just complete their fundamentals and then get ready for playoffs without showing too much.
And I think clearly this is a game where XL are the absolute favourites. But if you were to try and pick them apart, and I kind of want to expand on Frost's point before we go towards Champion Select, like how would you go about attacking Taxa? Because I think we have identified Taxa as maybe the weakest link in the XL roster, maybe the top side of the map in general for XL. If you are Singularity, how do you go about attacking him? I kind of want to dive into what they would actually need to do to unlock that weaker part of the XL roster.
I think, in all honesty, you abandon the bot side of the map and you have Skude as your shining star. He likes playing all these AP mages in the jungle. Those sort of champions tend to snowball. So do you catch Taxa off guard? Do you have priority in the mid lane and you're able to invade him, getting small leads from there and then trying to snowball that towards the top side of the map, I think would be the key for them. Now, a lot of times I talk about Vrao and how much I believe in him. I think it's time to show that, you know, with no pressure, he can actually start performing. We've seen a couple of mistakes coming from him. I want to see the duo really shine versus a BTXL that's still trying to figure out how they want to play the game.
I think there's two different ways you look at this. Riddle have effectively put together a blueprint for how to attack BTXL, having their two losses against them. But the thing is, you know, not every team has Doxy up into the top side to try to exploit that top side. So either you can say we can slow down Taxer, maybe control the map and try to coin flip on team fights and have a superior scaling match, and hopefully XL don't snowball ahead of us. Or you say, let's grab a bunch of tools, things like a Gangplank, things like a Twisted Fate, and then like a kill-oriented bot lane, and actually just try to match Excel when they try to snowball Deadly and Kasing. And hopefully you have the same amount of tools or assets that if you know Excel are going to go bottom and play around their AD carry, that you can also try to match that and flip the game there. But I think those are kind of the two different ways that Singularity could try to attack this.
Well, we'll see if they can do that and see if that's going to be a plan of theirs as we get towards that draft. It's coming up after this break.
Let the sparks fly into a summer night. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Running to the future blind. Nothing really matters. My midnight sun, taking out the darkness. That's only just begun. That's only just begun. Tell me all your dreams and put them on your sleeve. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Let the sparks fly into a summer night. We're going eye to eye, running to the future blind. Nothing really matters. My midnight sun, taking out the darkness. And it's only just begun. And it's only just begun.
Okay, we are into draft. Singularity on blue side, BTXL on red, and Karma taken off the board straight away.
Whoa, where's my boy Vro?
Where's your what?
Oh,
Where's
wait,
my
we
boy
have a
Vro?
sub. We do have a sub. We have Galul coming in for Vrao in the mid lane for Singularity.
Well, I guess
That I was not aware of.
I guess it makes sense. If you gotta stop, you want to give him playtime or anything like that on the stage like this, just you might as well do it now. You got nothing to lose really. So he's got something to show for himself then. But this does also bring a different perspective into Singularity. We might not know what kind of identity they're bringing. Although given the identity they brought in the former weeks, I was still not clear about what was.
That doesn't sound too great there. I'm going to say that just looking at the two bans being yes, Karma's a flex pick, but then next to Bard, it feels like Team Singularity are saying that they want a really easy bot lane, and they don't want to have to deal with some sort of enchanter making their life a living hell. So far in the draft phase, I'm assuming that Singularity wants to play something in the bot lane specific. Oh, yes, of course, he's actually alive.
I actually wanted to mention the opposite. The fact that they're taking all this trouble away from their bot lane means that they just want to secure something that's very simple, very low profile. They just want to survive it maybe, and then do something towards the top side. Bringing in a sub mid laner that late, even though you're still not in the chase, for the playoffs, that means you still have something to prove. You still want to put down the wins, and bringing in some new blood, that might mean a lot of new interesting champions. I want to hope towards the maybe the assassin type of things. Even with the Kathos out of the way. I know. You've heard.
Yeah, it strongly goes back to the point, right, with Karthus being able to actually burst the last tick down. Now, Camille ban coming out against Sendo too, which is quite interesting. Because last time we saw a blind Camille pick coming out, he was just heavily punished by a Renekton pick immediately. But let's see what they have planned. As Frost mentioned, they were heavily targeting support picks here, and a lot of ADs, actually all of the ADs, are still available. So if you have a priority for an AD carry, now's your time to grab it. And there we go, it's the Ashe.
And the nice thing about picking an Ashe here is it does dissuade slightly Deadly into taking the Callista, since Callista would still be an option available for him. Now, that said, he could just double down and grab it and be like, that's fine, you can play the Ashe into me. I'll take the hard time because I can brute force this lane and beat you down anyway. But I would expect that he would take a long-range ADC or a longer-range ADC to try to match this one.
So it's going to be the Twisted Fate locked in here. This is something that we have seen from Hat-Tricks. I mean, the first game that he played in the NLC, he played the Galio, so he was a little bit more selfless. He was kind of more looking to play for his side lanes, and we're going to go back to that kind of less about the lane, more about the map version of Hat-Tricks that we've seen a couple of times before. A very, very staple pick for XL, if this were to be locked in, is the set, and that is something that they have played in both top lane, but top lane and jungle, even support, but primarily we see that sort of handed over to Sendo as a blind pick top.
I would expect to see it in the jungle. I mean, you just talked about Sendo's comfort with it up into the top lane. You also mentioned its flexibility there, but usually I think Set has a bit of fragile matchup, so you try to hide him into the jungle position, and especially with pick a card, if you get the stun, it allows really easy gank setup and access to the mid lane for Set, so I expect it to be a Set jungle, and Kassadin, I thought might come out into Twisted Fate, one of the viable picks and counters into that champion. So, hate Kassadin whenever I see him, but at least he's with Ashe, so that way you're not punished for not having any wave clear, because at least your ADC has some.
Yeah, I guess basically wave clear is important, Kassadin having none, and Ashe being the primary wave clearer here. Maybe get a support to pair with that, and that might be sort of your viable form of wave clear in the sort of the game. Thresh going to get locked in. Big pick for Kasing.
The scary thing here is that Skure has opted to go for the Olaf, and Olaf needs lanes to facilitate for him. It's kind of like all for one. It's all for the Olaf in the early game. He needs to snowball. He needs to get ahead, sort of, to be in your face and chase you down. So even though I do like the pick, paired up together with the Kassadin, who's actually going to struggle a little bit, I just want to see if maybe they do want to play towards Flaxus in the top lane. At least for me, he has been the highlight for Singularity, and even if losing matchups, yes, sometimes he might run a little bit underneath the enemy tower, a little too much, too many intimate moments up there, but I feel like he is the shining star of Singularity. Like, the top side needs to do wonders here.
At the same time, I also like the setup they have gotten so far. You can already see that this is a bit different from what we usually see with Singularity. Yeah, Olaf can struggle if he doesn't have these laners to facilitate himself, but he's also a jungler that can facilitate himself properly if he is set up by at least someone on his team. You only need one side of the map to really help you. Obviously, Kassadin in the mid lane can be a problem with a Twisted Faith, but once you hit that level 6 as well, you can fight for objectives if you really want to. You got set up with the Ashe, and I'm curious to see what kind of support is going to come in here, because you'd still round out the composition. Obviously, though, BTXL does look very scary. If that set is going top lane, you got Twisted Faith with a stun card set up there. If it's going bottom, well, you have to Thresh. So there's a lot of setup for this Twisted Faith too.
I'm just curious what Deadly's going to grab hold of. So you can see in secondary ban phase, the Kalista and the Senna were picked. He's going to grab a significantly weaker Varus. I mean, Ashe was long time one of the champions that you could pick into a Varus when you did let him through, because they have similar range. I don't know. I feel like Deadly really got kind of second-class citizen here when he got to pick up. His team kind of gave away a lot of his picks and his power, and now he just gets to be kind of zone control and wave push.
That's interesting, though, because that's a big change from the XL classic style. Everybody has always called XL a deadly team, like it's funnel resources into Deadly, make Deadly the main carry for the team. And this time round, doesn't look like, just based on his pick alone, that might be the case.
I honestly believe that this is an on-hit Varus in the hands of Deadly. I don't necessarily believe that going up against Ashe and Braum and Olaf, you'll have a good time playing poke. I think, especially with the addition of Mordekaiser here, I think that maybe it is a lot of eggs again into Deadly's basket, and I'll put my money down maybe for the on-hit.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be an on-hit Varus. I think Poke Varus got heavily nerfed, and I do think that in some scenarios you can still make the on-hit Varus work, so I certainly think that's what they're going to be going for. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this Mordekaiser blind pick coming in as the weak side. I think there's a lot of better options you could have gone for, especially because you could go with these set in the jungle and then get a proper counter pick. Although I don't actually think Na is the best counter pick into Mordekaiser. I can't be proving wrong though.
I just feel like there's a huge issue of range on the side of Singularity. They have Mordekaiser, Olaf, Kassadin, Braum, and then Ashe. So, like, Ashe needs to be so on point with the control to even allow any of those melee champions to get access to anyone. So while it is a significantly weaker Varus than kind of the Varus that terrorized the beginning of 2020, this Varus is going to have a field day because no one actually should be able to hit him.
By the way, guys, just want to make you aware, we are going to have a slight delay getting into game. We have to remake the draft. There was a room page issue for one of the players, so we are just waiting a little bit longer than usual to jump into game. And that's going to allow me to explore some of the win conditions of these teams with our analysts. I guess Frosk briefly touched on the win conditions for, or rather some of the issues with the win conditions for the Singularity roster. But let's look at the other side of the coin. What can they do to win? Where is their win? Is it just level 16 Kassadin and blow up the backline? Is that what we're looking for here with Singularity, or is it a bit more nuanced than that?
Whoa. First and foremost, Kassadin is not only a level 16 champion. I know that level 16 is like his big power spike, but I think that there's a really big misconception that Kassadin just kind of like hard loses until then. He's not as valuable, but it's kind of the same idea of Kayle. People think that Kayle can't lane, and unless she's like level 16, that she's just a worthless champion or doesn't become a champion until level 11. Her poke damage is actually pretty significant in lane phase, and Kassadin with his shield as well as kind of his whittling down, like he's fine. He won't win the lane, but he can still skirmish actually pretty effectively.
And also, let's not forget Yadron solo killing Magifilix on a Kassadin versus Twisted Fate matchup. And I've heard plenty of things for this player coming in with the Kassadin. A lot of promise for him. He is a main Kassadin player. He's really good at that job. He's very proficient. What really scares me here is the global presence that BTXL is putting on the map again. This screams to me good old BTXL coming into the NLC, playing with the roams towards that bot side. So I think they're gonna pull the same thing. And Singularity is not very praised to be a very cohesive team with really quick calls. They know their macro very well. It's more of a sporadic sort of play style. And this time they've drafted Teamfight. They want to be playing all together. So I want to see what has changed with the addition of a new player and how is the Singularity going to play out.
I mean, yeah, you can swap in a new player. I still think they're going to be facing the same issues. And speaking of issues, as Frost was mentioning, a lot of melee champions coming in. And not only that, but a lot of CC to deal with those melee champions on the side of BTXL. There's a CC in every champion on in the draft right now. You got Disengage and Engage with the Nye. You got a Corruption thingy from the virus. And you got, of course, the Death Sentence. You got the Stun card from Twisted Faith. And on the side of Singularity, you are relying on running into the enemy team, and they can simply just kite that out. They have unhit Varus, they have Set to tank, they have the Gnar to tank, and they have the Thresh repeal with a Dark Passage too. I think it's going to be really hard getting to some of the carries on the side of BTXL. And speaking of that, just laning phase in general, while Kassadin does excels outside of his level 16 power spike, Twisted Faith excels as soon as he get that Destiny. And if Kassadin is not able to get that mid lane priority, Twisted Faith is going to have a field day on the map. There is CC, as I said, on every member on his team.
And I think a huge issue is kind of like, if you're looking at Singularity's composition, where does this Olaf actually attack? He'll have, decent dueling and river control, but he's primarily looking at the bot lane, and Olaf can get good gank access in bot lane, especially when paired up against a Braum, and especially post level 6 for the Ashe. But if those ganks don't go off well, and you're dealing into a Thresh and a Varus, so a Dark Passage could just eliminate all of that, then I don't know. I feel like Excel are just going to take hold of this game. And while I think that they do have team fight tools, what I would actually like to see them play out with this is a 1-4, or constantly sending Gnar into a side lane, and then having Twisted Fate kind of continuously ganking the Mordekaiser while you use the the Dark Passage from Thresh and Varus to keep kind of the minion waves at bay and kind of bounce those two back and forth. I think that would be kind of like the cherry on top to show the macro strategy of BTXL, rather than just ramming 5 faces into a team fight and trying to brute force a victory.
So you feel like the win conditions for XL primarily lie in their ability to play the map, the split push win conditions there. Is there anything else that you're expecting from them?
They could just run in as 5. But I would like to see them really play the map with this Gnar, especially into the Mordekaiser.
And I think that's the beneficial factor too, right? They can be adaptive. They can go for Fruskering style if they really want to show off that macro performance. Or they can just brainless after they get a lead, head on out team fight them with their lot of CC, especially because they have different spikes coming in here. You got the Ashe and Varus who can match each other with the Blade of the Ruined King, but outside of that, the spiking is just different. You have just champions that can fight from almost the first item, where the rest of them really needs a lot more to get in there. And there in the early game, it is going to rely on Scooty actually not having fallen behind on this Olaf to actually be a factor for Singularity.
So I just want to reset the stakes for this game as well, by the way. XL are on the verge of basically securing first place. I don't know if this guarantees them first place, but it is the first step they need to take to get to that point. And XL quite clearly, as we've said with Group A in general, want to avoid second place. Second place is the danger zone, where Fnatic is on the cards and suddenly you're staring down a pretty scary looking playoff bracket. So everybody in Group A right now is 100% gunning for that first place. And especially with the Riddle win, XL have teams breathing down their neck for that spot.
If they lose this game, they would tie up in points with Riddle, but because Riddle has the 2-0 head-to-head against BTXL, Riddle would actually take the first place. So they need to win this game because they do not have a good head-to-head against Riddle.
Yeah, and as you said, Riddle have somehow caught that edge on XL over the last couple of games. Guys, I believe we are ready to jump into games. Sorry about the delay once more. We just had an issue with draft, which is all sorted. Going to hand it over to Hitbrain and Ox.
Thank you very much, Excandrel. Hello and welcome back as we're getting ready to go into game number 2, Singularity versus BTXL. The stakes were highlighted by our desk just before we got thrown to. XL need this win. If they lose here, they fall behind Riddle, who have the head-to-head advantage. If they win, they do remain in first for now. Singularity, while they're knocked out, they can play upset here at this point, so that's what they're looking to do. XL obviously looking to avoid Fnatic for as long as possible in the playoffs, because Fnatic over on the other side of the bracket have been looking formidable. 8-0 in the standings right now. XL, they need to do it. Orcs, how confident are you in this draft and in this team right now, though?
I think they have a lot of tools. I think I'm pretty confident XL have the tools to close this game out. I think we've seen a little bit of a difference here from Singularity, because typically they tend to play heavily through having priority mid. and they like to pressure the lane. I would expect here, if it was Rao, to see something more like the Zoe into the Twisted Fate and look to challenge in the mid jungle 2v2. Galul, sorry, is a very different player and is going to play more of the scaling style. So it's an interesting dynamic because it means Scood's not going to have the same reliability as to play around in the early levels, but it means if they do go later in this game, they do have a potential win condition available to them. But XL previously with the Kings of early game, they just need to show that here and they should be able to take this one. And again, as you said with the stakes, if XL lose this, them getting first place is out of their hands. If they lose this, then they rely on Riddle losing later this week if they're going to get first place.
Well, we're loading through onto the Summoners Rift for our second game of the day. XL taking on Singularity. Stakes are high for XL. Maybe not for Singularity, but it is an important one for XL, like you said, to remain at the top of the standings. Defensive lines are getting started up. Scoot doing the pretty standard Olaf thing there. Slapping a ward down, resetting, getting a sweeper, and then heading back to the lane.
Flaxish with the guitar solo, thank you very much. Yeah, we'll have to see how things pan out. With the on-hit Varus, obviously that wasn't the thing that was primarily nerfed with the changes, but it did suffer some nerfs just when they were focused on hampering away at the poke Varus. The damage on the arrow is down. The damage on the hail of arrows is also down. And obviously that's less of a concern when you're on hit, but it does still hurt his early game a little bit. So I expect Takeset to have the advantage in that regards. But we know that Deadly and Kasing are the sort of bot lane that will challenge you in that 2v2.
Yeah, they absolutely are. So junglers both starting up on their blue side. Because I do want to watch what the difference is going to be now with Gaul on the team. Like you said, can't really rely on this casting to help him with the early plays. And Scoot has been a player who has been a bit hit or miss. When he's had good early games, he's looked good. When he's had rough early games, he's looked bad. And not having, you know, the backup of your mid, having constant prio could be an issue for Scoot in this game.
And what I'm concerned about is that the Olaf could actually be a great pick here, you know. As we said in the desk, there's a ton of CC on the side of BTXL, and Olaf has a free pass to ignore that, assuming that he gets a lead. If he falls behind, then it doesn't matter about the CC not affecting you because they'll just kill you with the damage. But if this Olaf gets the momentum, we could see him be a real thorn in the side of XL. But ultimately, it's a big ask of Scoot, especially when you can already see Hattrick's able to find priority in the mid lane. You're not going to have that assistance from your mid laner. And essentially, it means that should Haxer want to go aggressive, challenge for Scuttles, challenge in your jungle, he's going to have the assistance from Hattricks.
Zeda's got a good shove in onto Flaxfish here early. Flaxfish kind of okay for the moment though, so didn't really be in too much threat. It looks like Deadly and Kasting are the ones who are feeling pretty comfortable right now. Got an okay shove versus Takeset and only. Scoot is hanging about though. There is a ward that will spot if Scoot wants to come through for a gank, but was going for a reset. Actually decides to cool that off as the lane's getting shoved in pretty heavily by XL. Sweeper will spot this ward out now, and Deadly Kasing will just have to step away.
Good opportunity to potentially get a freeze in this situation from Singularity's bot lane, but instead they're opting to push up pretty aggressively and pair up with Scoot for the Scuttle Crab. So we could see a fight break out in this situation.
Yeah, Scoot's going to get gold carded instantly. Tax is making his way forward. Then you jump off the Hattricks. The Hattricks jumps out. Here comes the hook. Deadly on that flank. Takes Zet. Not able to get in time because Thing finds himself first blood. Hattricks with the gold card. Looking for someone. Not able to find it yet. Sting's hook coming off cooldown soon as Tax is barreling forward. The flash, the flay. Down goes only. Deadly's the one to get gifted the kill, and XL find two.
Just really poor decision making overall. I mean, yes, you have the bot lane having control because you put your pressure down there, but you don't have anything from mid lane. Galul isn't able to offer nearly as much as Hattricks can with those stun cards, and ultimately Scoot in that team fight, on that skirmish. Oh yeah, I mean, Galul looks in trouble here.
He has nowhere to go. Gold card's gonna connect. Hattricks actually gets taken out. Wait, what happened there? Gets himself the kill. They trade back out, but now Scoot trying to run through Kasting.
Yeah, Hattricks
I think he gold carded a minion.
A minion, yeah. I mean, I want to see the replay on that. I want replay slow-mo on that, but I am very certain he gold carded a minion there. And
Oh, what a win.
Died once. Well, I mean, it was 2v3 against Castles. We're going to have the replay. Just watch hat tricks here. Gold card.
Oh!
Yep.
It's painful.
Oh,
no.
Very appreciated production.
Hat tricks.
You hate
sweet
it.
summer child.
Oh, Lord. So here's a question for you. Which is worse, right?
Okay.
Yellow carding the minion or blue carding?
Wait. If you blue card the... Oh, wait. Blue carding Galul or the minion?
Blue carding Galul or yellow carding a minion? Like, both are
Blue carding... Blue carding Galul was probably better.
Blue carding Galul has more impact, obviously. But I'm asking, which do you see as more for fluff? Which would you find more hilarious?
I think gold carding a minion. Because the blue card does the most damage, right?
Yeah, but obviously you want the stun card, you know.
Yeah, you want the stun card, but I feel like he could have got the... He might have been able to get the burst down. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely overestimating it. He has got a catalyst, so maybe he doesn't have as much.
Either way, it was definitely a mistake.
It was just, we are nitpicking here a little bit. At the end of the day, hat tricks gold carded a minion, and Galul now level 6 got himself a kill. This is good stuff for him on this card.
Minion. That would have been.
He would have had mana.
He pulls out the blue card and he's like, oh well.
Oh, that would have been the ultimate flub.
Then he also misclicks. That would have been a bit rough. But yeah, anyway, getting back to the game. So obviously we had the early advantage from BTXL. Bit of a misplay from Singularity to opt into that one. And then critically as well, Scoot flashed straight onto Hatrix, who had his flash available and was able to essentially just bait Scoot in. And then obviously that more recent play, just Hatrix misplaying completely there, and he hits the minion, as you said. By the way, we're still seeing a lead for XL, which is what they want to have. They pick up that early dragon, which is pretty solid. It is a cloud next, so we're going to be looking at a mountain or ocean soul. Both pretty solid, I'd say, for XL. Can't complain too much about either of those. And it feels like in all three lanes, they just had priority all game, which is a little bit of the vulnerability. You know, picking his composition with an Olaf. The Castin's going to lose to Twisted Fate. The Mordekai's going to lose to the Gnar. And as much as Ashe into Varus is a good matchup for Ashe, it's the Braum Thresh that is really deciding the priority in the situation. It's the fact that Thresh has the extra range and can harass Braum and keep him at bay. I think that's a critical reason why they banned away the Tahm Kench, because Ashe Tahm Kench actually would have found priority in this lane. You can really play aggressive with it, having the Eat to just negate the effect of any of the hooks coming out. And also he has pretty good harass with the Tongue Lash. So for me, I think that's the big vulnerability we're seeing right now with Singularity's composition, is a lack of priority across the board. And it means that although Scoots managed to farm up a Storm, you compare that to the impact Taxes managed to have on the map.
Yeah, with that early dragon, the Rift Herald spawning up soon, and the pings are already going down. They got Prio in the top lane. Taxa just looking to pick up a couple of camps before heading over. Scoot, though, already in the Herald area. So could just look to try and alleviate some of this pressure top lane, or even sneakily start away this Herald. As Singularity, they don't really have to worry at the moment, as XL actually don't have any vision around this area. And Taxa's completely off the opposite side of the map, so it looks like Sendo may just be on the receiving end of a bit of attention. Is about to gnar out. Even so, that is a Ragnarok ready to go Scoot.
XL moving up to establish vision control around the Twisted Fate in the mid lane. I've actually seen them move towards the Herald also sometimes. Oh, Sendo.
That's a good old combo off onto Flaxfish. Doesn't actually hang around, just gets himself the light trade as he actually pulls him into the Death Realm. Sendo now looking to kite. Hatrix making his way in. Got that gold card ready. Make sure you land it on the right target this time as he comes out the Death Realm into the waiting hands of Hatrix. And the Ghost gets popped. The shield is on. The hammer comes down. And Sendo looks to mop up the kill. Misses out. Sendo, you fool! Oh, no!
That's it. That is actually it. I think that is probably it for me for the entire season. Worst player for the entire season. And not just because of what Sendo did, but also Flaxish missing everything and just death realming and then just walking under his turret, and then Sendo misses everything. It was mind-blowing. My mind is blown by how tragically bad that was from both sides. But either way, Singularity get the advantage, and then now they're going to look to pick up the Herald.
Oh, I hope that's the play of the game. I actually hope that's the play of the game.
It was just, I would like to go over that and just look at how comically bad it was. Oh, there we go.
Here it is.
So yeah, I mean, Flaxis, he ulted, missed everything. He was always going to lose. And then Hatrix goes forward and thinks, I don't have the damage. And then Sendu cues the minion so it bounces back and doesn't give up. He's like, okay, I've committed this far. I'm going even further. And yeah, I mean, both sides botched that massively, but XL managed to watch it a little bit more. And this is one of the things you've talked a bit about XL, is that their top jungle has been one of the concerns in their game. One of the games against Riddle, that was a big vulnerability that got exposed. Now here, jungle's doing all right, Tax is doing fine, but top lane, we want to be dying in this matchup.
Yeah, that was it's a little worrying here. Sendo looking to get up onto this tower, goes for the gnaw back. Stuns Flaxish out, the shield procs in time, not to take any damage from the boulder toss. So XL, they lost out on the Rift Herald. Scoot now has it. Looks like XL just grouping up. Deadly has got the Chains of Corruption available.
So what we should expect to see here is Singularity go right. Do we need to fight this dragon? No. Are we going to outscale? Yes. And then what I would like for them to go, okay, let's not fight the dragon.
But everyone has to fight the dragon.
I'm never sure. It's second dragon. It's not that big of a deal. I think they could give it up, but they're positioning pretty aggressively here. They don't have TP in the top laner, so it's going to be a 4v5. I think they should let Dragon go, and in return, they should play Herald and try and get pressure off that. I think that's the play to go for. But I don't think...
collapsing in. Chains are available. Don't throw it onto Scoot. He does have ultimate or just miss. This is a comedy of errors. Kasting does land a hook. Blaze back takes that, and he doesn't actually really have any backup. Gets the lantern off as in comes the teleport. Can they actually get a little bit more already? Hatrix takes out only Taxa. Ults back to get away as in comes the Destiny. Double kill for Hatrix. Looking for Ghoul as well. Not going to whiff this tower dive this time, as XL happy to get what they have been able to pick up so far. And Deadly with the snipe closes out another kill.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest, that was actually a pretty messy team fight from XL. I mean, Kasing goes over the wall, gets nearly killed at the start. But ultimately, it's 4v5, and your composition's really strong at the moment. Caston's not really hit those spikes, isn't even level 11. Singularity were never going to win that, and yet they still opt into it. I mean, only 35 is level 4. Bear that in mind. Like, this Braum is nothing at the moment. Doesn't even have the ultimate. Literally just paper to be cut through, and you're still opting into that fight. And it was a 4v5. Again, 4v5, and you're still trying to fight that for second dragon. Again, it's a similar mistake we saw last game, and now BTXL 3,000 in the lead. When it comes to the third dragon, BTXL likely still going to be ahead, and that's where things get really difficult for Singularity. Just a poor decision to go for that one, and good capitalization from XL to pick the fight with them, even though it was a little bit messy. You know, Deadly whiffing the ult, Sting's engage was a bit overzealous, even though he did survive.
Well, 13 minutes on the clock. XL are up in gold for the moment. Hatrix gets himself a plate. Building towards that Lich Bane as well, like we saw in the last game. Very good at taking those structures. Good. That Rift Herald's about to time out, so maybe going to throw it down here in the mid lane. Looks like he is going to do so.
You'll get a 2 plates or something, but really not worth a massive amount. Actually, defense could be coming out here.
Yeah, Hatrix can get the card onto the eye. Not going to get it in time, and Scuba's the only one to get the gold from that. Ghoul wasn't close enough.
It's better that it's good that the Caston doesn't get it, but ideally you would have want no one getting it. I think maybe BTXL could have reacted in time. Hatrix a little bit slow with the gold card, but either way, it's just 2 plates on mid. It's not going to drastically change the situation of the game. There's a 3k gold lead for XL, and they're in a pretty comfortable spot. You know, across the board. Well, not across the board, but in mid and bot lane specifically, they got CS leads, they got kill leads. These carries are really looking powerful. Wrong way, only. I mean, he's still level 5, by the way. You know, Kasing's level 7.
What is Only doing?
I think
Nendo, even with that... Go on.
He's been leaving a lot of solo farm to take that. Oh, great ult coming in.
That was a good Ash Arrow, actually. HQ's going to get proc. Tatrix tries to run away. Gold card onto one, but he's just going to get chased down by the Olaf. Easy pickings. As Galul finds the kill.
That's actually a really nice arrow from Takes that. The tower goes down bot lane. Not much you can do to defend. But a nice cross-map snipe onto Hatrix to get a kill on the bag. For the casting as well. Good to see. But yeah, as I was saying about only 35, I think he's left Takes that alone a lot with the wave to get XP. And that's allowed him to keep pace with Deadly. You'll notice that Deadly and Takes that are both level 9. If you look at the CS lead that Deadly has and the extra kills and the extra gold, Deadly should be up in experience. So essentially only 35 has sacrificed himself to make his AD carry remain relevant. And I get it. I think it's a decent decision, but only once you've hit level 6. You know, you can hand over some XP here and there, but him delaying his level 6 by this long is really a problem if you're planning to fight. And again, I don't think they should need to fight, but they have been. So that is wherein lies the issue for Singularity right now. When Dragon's spawning in a minute 25, often the third one for a team is something we see contested, but it's a 3.5k gold lead for XL right now. And I think it's going to be a difficult one to take, especially as you look at Hatrix. He's got Rod of Ages and Lichbane already completed.
Yeah, and that row is 4 minutes off full stack as well, so...
Compared to that to Galul's, which is, I think, 1 stack now.
9 minutes away from being fully stacked. So that second Rift Herald is going to get started up by XL. Taxa's already over there. And like I said, we've had our criticisms of Sendo and Taxa across the season, but this has been a good game from Taxa so far.
Yep. I mean, good objective play. They got all 3 of those out of towers quite quickly, despite the fact they didn't get that first Herald. They had priority in the lanes. And XL playing this one out well. This is what we expect from them. It's just whether they keep this pace, because I expect them to, by all means, but Singularity do have some nasty surprises later on if they let, you know, the likes of the casting go unchecked. Now they're going to throw this Herald down mid and look to get this hit too.
Has actually about to get the 3-man Gnar into the 2-man wallet. The Chains of Corruption come down, but the health bars are just so low. Asher onto Deadly is able to cleanse away to safety. Cards are going to run through as Taxa is just underneath everyone. Is able to flash out to safety. Kasing gets the kill. Kasing is still somehow alive here. Stu continues to chase. Hatrix gets the gold card off, gets pulled back by the Death's Grasp, and Arrow's going to come down. Destiny getting used. They're looking to chase for a little bit more as Hatrix takes the Winter's Bite. Deadly flashes forward, finds himself the kill. And oh my lord, what a turnaround from XL. It looked like a rough start. They're going to get the Dragon. They're going to get the kills, and XL can walk away happy with that one.
Just a massive overreach from Sendo there under the tower. Gets locked up while taking tower hits, goes down. And it started to look like it was pretty Singularity favored. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the power to chase down. Some really clutch lanterns coming out from Kasing to keep people safe as well. And then overall, we still see XL coming out ahead. We still see them getting that Dragon. We'll get a little bit of a replay here. So as you can see, it's really just an overreach from Sendo. Tower hits ticking away. But it's the backline who remains safe from XL. This is a critical thing, and the reason why they're successful in this game is because consistently Kasing and the backline carries of Deadly and Hatrix are staying safe. Clutch Lantern coming out here, and they just start to push up. At this point, they're like, okay, we are confident. We've chunked them out. Let's start moving forwards. And at this point, Singularity realize they've overstepped, and they end up losing another.
As we get back onto the game, look at the items that are getting hit by Deadly. Got the Blade of the Ruin King, got the Rage Blade. Takes that, only got a Blade of the Ruin King. Miles behind Deadly right now. A level behind as well, so there's 2 points into those chains from Deadly. Singularity setting up multiple members towards his bot side, maybe looking for Hatrix, but Hatrix...
Wow, this is a...
Not really willing to overstep for the moment. May step up now as Ghoul jumps in onto him. He's used the card. Only jumps in forward. Does have the ultimate. They've got the gold card to work with. The concussive blows will land and they stun him up. Only very low. They takes a lot of tower shots. Sendo jumps in forward as Ghoul flashes away. Flaxish teleports in as well to make sure that play was nice. And XL lose their mid lane.
Yeah, Hatrix had quite out a fair bit. They've been looking to punish him. Now, they do sacrifice that tier 2 top lane tower, but ultimately, when you're behind this far, getting any sort of play, any sort of kill is pretty nice for your team. My concern is, though, Galul picked up an 18-minute tier. So it's still a long way before he's hitting the spikes. Now, Sendo could be caught out.
Yeah, trying to dodge away for the moment from Flaxish. Actually hasn't got that Gnar ready CS tired out, and all of this damage is landing in. Sendo looks to try and make a break for it, hops over the wall. Galul looks to chase for a little bit more. Destiny not even going to get fired out as Takeset will take the Chains of Corruption after the Ash Arrow has already been used, and Deadly just finds an easy mop-up kill there. XL do answer back. Sendo dies for a third time, though.
It's good, though. Singularity finding these picks from the behind is important because, I mean, boy, are they behind. 6,000, sorry, is the goal difference. And you can see individually there's massive disparities. Scood's ahead thanks to his farm. Galul's pretty close. Actually, he's only 1,000, which I say is pretty close, but it's just comparing to this bot lane matchup. Deadly 3k gold up between him and the Ashe. And he's just does so much damage right now. It's really scary, especially when there's so many melee champions going into a Varus. He will just decimate them. He's now picking up the Wit's End as the next item. You've already seen Sendo with it. They can very easily itemize a lot of magic resist because Olaf isn't particularly strong, and you have the main AP threats of Flaxus and Galul. So things are looking dire for Singularity, but they keep finding these windows where they are able to challenge. It's not enough to get them firmly in the game, but it's given them an opportunity to stall it out and hit those spikes. Maybe at 28 minutes, Galul's finished off his Seraphs, and that's when they have a reasonable chance. But for now, they are struggling. And Baron is up. You see some vision set up there. Dragon Soul is in a minute 40 for XL.
That's a very, very early Mountain Soul as well. It's going to make it harder for Galul to actually kill Deadly.
Yeah,
for
I think
long
an early
time.
Mountain Soul is super impactful, especially when you have like a lot of melee champions trying to kill the likes of Deadly. The shield doesn't scale super well until later in the game because it just doesn't pick up much value. But when you initially get it, that extra shield is so hard to break through when you're already behind. When you're already lacking damage on this composition, when Galul's already waiting to hit spikes, when you're already 7k gold down, the Mountain Soul just makes it almost impossible for you to really win the fight because Deadly just becomes that much more tankier, and especially when he's already opting into magic resist, it's going to feel really insurmountable. So I think Singularity might have to actually fight this dragon, despite how doomed it may seem.
Ashara is going to be up. They will have all their ultis available. Same for XL. Hook comes in from Kasing. Long range onto Scood. Not going to follow it, though. That would be a little bit over-eager by Kasing. Key things to note is, as this dragon spawns up, Deadly will have Flash and Cleanse available. So it will actually be fairly hard to chain the CC and actually take Deadly out. That looks like they may try. Sendo about to gnar out, which could be a little bit rough around the Baron pit.
I wouldn't want to run into a choke against him. I'll definitely say that one. Singularity, they're going to push up mid and then rotate towards Baron. They essentially want to threaten the Baron in trade for the Dragon, and they want to pull BTXL away from it. But the thing is, BTXL aren't really scared. They know the Baron's slow, so they're just going to finish the Dragon off, and then they'll respond. See Singularity start this up. Alpha's dropping moderately fast, but I mean, they have tools to respond to this.
Destiny's been used. Patrick's looking to get close enough to join up with the team. The Ash Arrow does land in as Taxter gets pulled into the Death Realm. This actually might just be the Baron for Singularity. No jungler about, but XL, they need to look to mop this fight up. The Baron empowered recalls are coming out. Galul can hop over the wall to safety if he needs to. XL have already found themselves one kill. Sendo looking for another. The bases are coming down. And Singularity, they do lose Soul, but they've got Baron.
Yeah, no, fair play to them. The Mordekaiser utilization there was huge. Only Flaxus goes down. BTXL a little bit too relaxed moving towards that Baron. And the end result is we're able to see Singularity punished. So a nice move coming out there. I honestly feel like they didn't have quite as much damage as they did. So
They don't even need Baron. They're just going to take your base.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you got Baron minions or not.
You still can't fight them. You know, it stops them having the Baron, but the goal of Baron is to break your base, and your base is looking pretty broken at the moment.
XL just brute forcing their way in here. They're not even done. They're going to go for a turret number 2. Blackfish is back up, and that's an open inhibitor top lane, a broken inhibitor mid lane. And the Baron, it's going to time out. The Soul is permanent, so the trade really not favoring Singularity there. It was a good job that they got it, and like you said, it was a great denial, but Singularity going to be able to hold on now that their base has been opened on 2 fronts.
I will say, I don't think this is too bad, honestly, for Singularity. I mean, mid inhib means that there's permanently going to be a wave pushing, which means you're going to be able to just farm up. Galul got a lot of extra XP from that Baron. He's closing in on level 16. And realistically, ask yourselves, what else can BTXL do? You know, Elder Dragons in 4 minutes, Barons in 4 minutes. They can, if they push that top inhibitor, it's not really going to change anything. If they brute force mid, unless someone oversteps, they can't just run down mid and end, right? Unless Singularity massively misplay, it's very difficult to beat a team at their Nexus towers, even if you are ahead in gold. It's one of the easiest ways in the game to throw, just trying to force through mid and close. So they could end up botching that. And I think at this point, all Singularity have to do is wave clear. Now, they are going to try and apply pressure to the bot lane tower. That is their avenue. They need to move away from mid lane and look to pressure there. But again, it can be a little bit dangerous approaching the base when there are those base walls that force you into a choke. There's that tower threatening. If Singularity hold off this defense, they could be in a really good spot.
Can they hold, though, is the question for me. Sendo on the flank, about to gnar out. Meaning this tower could be used against you. Here comes the gnar, here comes the hook. Ragnarok gets used pretty late there, but a great block by only the Unbreakable means that Ash Arrow won't connect for the kill. And XL may just be able to crack open this turret now. Galul just going to catch this wave. Not got level 16 either. So the last turret will go down outside of the inhibitors, and bot lane inhib will now fall. Sendo dodges away on the desk grasp, and XL, they really don't care about this Baron. They are just pushing in for this. Third inhibitor will be next up on the menu, and Singularity, they need to do something, but they have no towers to fight under. They have nothing to work with.
You still see the BTXL have to be a little bit cautious. Only caught out, though.
Not if they find the hook, not if they find the chains, but Glacial Fissure gets used. Flaxfish takes a gold card. A fair amount of damage from Hat Tricks. Last inhibitor will just go down to XL, who have such a solid control right now. Kasting flashes forward, finds the hook onto only, as the Ash Arrow will connect, but only onto the backline. The Death Cross pulls them in, Deadly low HP, but Singularity, they are lower. The slam comes down, and Flaxfish is in the middle of the team. He's going to use the Death Realm for the moment. The Singularity looking to heal up, takes it, has got the health to work with for the moment. The turrets are being dove, as Flaxfish flashes away. That's one picked up for Galul. He gets himself a killing spree, but has to jump away, takes it, puts some damage into Deadly though, has a lot to work with, but his health bars just solo the minions will take him down. They've still got so many more to work with, and Singularity will lose their second to last tower. There is only one structure defending this Nexus now.
Yeah, I mean, XL take it all. They play it very slowly. They get the bot inhib, top inhib. They do overreach a little bit, I feel, on that play. End up losing a couple of members, but they're not even going to give a chance for Singularity to respawn. They just want to end here and now.
Scoot is back alive. 15 seconds until takes that. Only actually jumps in forward. They're looking for something here. They've got the Destiny to work with. The Ragnarok has been used, and Galul jumps in onto Deadly. Deadly's still alive and just firing away. You can't shut this virus down. XL walk away with everyone on this Singularity dead. Takes it. The only one left standing, as all he can do is watch his Nexus crumble. Deadly throws out the chains. It's not going to matter. 28 minutes on the clock. And Singularity are annihilated by BTXL.
I mean, the case of the game was always going to be heavily BTXL favored. I feel like the draft didn't help either. We had triple priority lanes for the side of XL. Scoot couldn't really do much. They got that massive lead. And yes, they had the scaling elements, but waiting for those was never really going to be a good condition. Sure, there was maybe a point where if they defended, they'd find themselves in a better spot after getting that Baron. But XL weren't going to let that happen. They were able to brute force it. They were able to shut Singularity down. And critically, with that win, they moved themselves back into first place once again above Riddle. So we do have one more game for both Riddle and XL before the end of the split. There's still a chance for Riddle to catch up. But for now, XL are first place in the group.
Yeah, it was a really, really good win for XL. They needed that. Obviously, Singularity, while it didn't mean too much to them, it's got to feel bad kind of losing that game. But fantastic win for XL. We are going to cut to a break now. And when we're back, we'll have the analyst desk break that down along with an interview. So we'll see you in a second.
it's time to make a start. We can't stay where we are, my love. This is our one chance to chase the sun. We've got to cut and run, my love. For all the reasons we work so hard, for the life that we deserve. I know that we'll be on golden sands, seeing far across the world. I know that it's time to make a start. We can't stay where we are, my love. This is our one chance to chase the sun. We've got to cut and run, my love. For all the reasons we work so hard, for the life that we deserve. I know that we'll be on golden sands, seeing far across the world.
I've been a restless sleeper lately, been squirming around in my sheets, tying myself up in knots and dreams of you. Ooh. And
I think the expected result, XL taking a victory over Singularity. It was always going to be a big ask for Singularity to pull out a win in that situation. They also had a sub mid laner, so that definitely threw a spanner in the works coming into this one. But as we said, it was probably one of the lower impact matches towards the end of this split, with Singularity really having nothing to play for. But on the flip side, as our analysts said in the draft, they also had nothing to lose also. So where do we go? Where do we start with this game? It felt like XL had a grip on it from a very early sort of point in the game.
And I think it also just came down to the matchups, right, that we talked about before going into the game from drafts. It was really easy just to play it out. And it just individually, you just had better players on the side of XL. It was really easy for them just to demonstrate it. I think that they tried to go for some team fights, and they were actually proactive Singularity. Thing is, though, they didn't really play out those proactive fights that they really wanted to, and already in the early game, BTXL had secured themselves a lead. And to me, I just told myself, well, it's basically over here. So what I really wanted to focus on was how is BTXL then looking now that they are looking to secure themselves a win already this early in the game, and how are they playing the game out? To me, they're still making some struggling mistakes that I would like for them to tidy up before the playoffs get going. I see that some of them are just dying from random things. Let's talk about the Na dive when they just instantly buffed that one with hat tricks and Sendo, where obviously Sendo shouldn't have died there. So I think there are some individual mistakes, but as a team, they are looking better, BTXL.
I mean, if you're going to sort of limit test, quote unquote, it would be against a team like Singularity on paper, right? The weakest team on the paper. And I don't necessarily think they drafted on their favor. Like mid lane was going to be falling behind. They picked up top lane. It got counterpicked straight away. And their only way out was towards that bot lane, but we never necessarily saw anything going down there, because we do know that Singularity is mostly a top-oriented sort of team. So I felt like they drafted against them. They didn't have the advantage on any lane to play through. They kind of like mismatched themselves versus XL. And XL, all they had to do was just chill back, let the game play, and they had the better macro. They had the better sort of rotations onto the map. And even though, like you mentioned the 9, how bad he went, all in all, he ended up ahead in CS, much more gold than his opponent, and just ended up steamrolling in that top lane.
I mean, anytime you lose a Baron, you know, something went wrong in terms of your limit testing there. So while it was a pretty steady choke out from XL, there are things to tighten up like my other two analysts are talking about. I do want to kind of focus in on the play of the game and where I feel like the game was really swung open for XL. And it was specifically in their push for this mid lane tower. The play starts out and it looks like Sendo actually gets caught behind enemy lines, but then using the power of the Mega Gnar to be like, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me, smashes them against the wall. And while all this is happening, the team has split damage and is managing to take down the mid lane tower, but it's right here. Boom. Kasing just ruins that Ash's life take set, because take set is still alive. At this point, I actually think that Singularity could have chased down with the slow, with the control, with the damage from their AD carry, and swung and perhaps even flipped the game open. But because Kasing made the hero play on the Thresh and manages to kill the ADC, XL get out scot-free, where they take the mid lane tower, they take the AD carry, and then they're not punished for virtually anything. And the gold leads speak for themselves at the back end of that play.
I just loved how he said, oh, I'm not trapped in here with me. You're not trapped in here. Wait, how does that phrase go? Never mind that. Point is that he just straight up dies afterwards. Like, it's like, oh, I actually got you trapped there. Oh, wait, no, I sacrificed myself. And had it not been from the individual skill of Kasing landing that hook and the follow-up from Taxam with a phenomenal getaway, I actually think that dive could have been pretty butch once again from Sendo.
It was a great back-to-back potential dive that could have gone great, but it went completely wrong. It's okay, limit testing.
But again, it's the perfect example of a situation where XL are able to bank off the back of their individual performances and find success where other teams shouldn't. It's being taught that that's something that you can get away with. And then when they try that against a better team, you know, and Ash doesn't take a death sentence and they do get walked down there. So it's those tiny moments that you're really paying attention to as if you were to say, okay, XL are a good team, but that doesn't make them a great team. That play right there.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and get some insight from that, because I've got Kasing ready to go with an interview. So I'm going to have a chat to him and we can have a brief talk about their games. First of all, let me open with this one, Ray. It's really lovely to speak to you as usual. Are we done with XL's limit testing yet? Are we still limit testing, or are we done with it?
I mean, I'm sorry, guys, that you have to bear with us for a few more weeks, I would say. No, but on a real level, we've kind of been trying different styles, I would say, because you know how every team has its own identity. For us, we've kind of been searching for it the past weeks, I would say. I mean, I would say we're quite a versatile team now compared to before, where we kind of had like one winning formula or one success formula with Deadly, you know, just funnel all resources into it before. But now that we can kind of play around hat-tricks, Nintendo, and even Taxa, like, I think we're becoming a better team, in my opinion. So I would say limit testing has gone good for us, I would say.
So we're not done with it quite yet, but it has been a success in your eyes for the most of the season.
I mean, obviously we lost 2 times to Riddle, which is kind of annoying for me because, you know, I felt like both games we were in control up until we weren't. And I think either maybe we just lacked a certain idea of how we're meant to win the game or how we're meant to like snowball the lead. Kind of like this game, right? We're on a time limit since they had Kassadin, and maybe we could have been more proactive, I would say, in the early game. But of course, I think most of the fights like that we initiated, it went well. I think there were some fights that we could have done more, if anything. Like obviously, I would say it's annoying, right? When you're put in a time limit, you kind of force yourself to make plays, but just knowing and being patient of choosing when to actually engage is important.
Yeah, of course. I do like that you brought up the XL equivalence to Coast from the LCS back in the day. You're winning until you aren't. But I think specifically with this game, was this a sort of an active decision to sort of say, okay, we're going to try a different style with hat tricks back on TF, a bit more map orientated, less about sort of lane for hat tricks? Is this another kind of a variation from you, just saying that you wanted TF early, or do you feel that TF is just that strong of a pick that you'll take him early on in rotation?
And the thing is, right now we're still, not like testing everything, but I think anyway that TF is quite strong at the moment, just due to the fact that he puts so much pressure on the map, and if you just unlock him, he's able to, influence other lanes as you saw in this game. Obviously, aside from the one that happened top where he died, then that's a bit awkward. I guess Mordekaiser was a bit strong, but I would say TF in general is a strong pick.
Of course. And obviously now you're in a situation where you've got a game remaining versus Ents. Now, the situation is this, basically. If you win, you get first place guaranteed. If you lose and Riddle win, due to the head-to-head, Riddle would get first place. Are you confident that Ents is going to be a sort of an easy game for you to secure and get first?
I mean, I don't like to use the words easy or hard or whatever. It's just whichever game we're playing next, I'm confident anyway, regardless. And I know my team will be too.
Yeah, I think absolutely. XL have definitely shown us some ups and downs this split, but as you said, it's been about searching for your identity, and obviously that's been through the case of the whole split. And then, quite clearly, the end goal is EU Masters and Fnatic. I mean, do you feel that with all the improvements and the kind of almost identity searching that you've been doing, do you feel like this is the split where you could finally kind of deal with the kryptonite that is Fnatic?
I mean, I haven't won a split yet, even though being here for quite a while, I would say it's kind of annoying, but maybe this is the split. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty confident. This is the split.
This is the split. Love it. That's it. Going on record, mate. Thank you very much, Ray. I'm going to leave it there, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thank you.
All right, so this is the split. I'm taking it. That's it. That's 100% sold. We are taking that line written down. This is the split for XL. They are going to beat Fnatic for the first time in a very long time.
That was not confident. Maybe. Oh, you know what? Yes, we're confident now. That's not confidence.
Go block. No. I'm taking it. Like that's it. That's it.
Fine,
down on a tablet.
You take that.
Down on a tablet.
You take that. Fine.
Oh, guys, right. Well, thank you so much for that. It was good fun. Let's move on. We've got two more games left today. Our next game will be Godsent versus Ents. So we'll be back when we're jumping into that.